Hello. Hello. What's up, fighting game fanatics? Hope you guys are ready for some Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii. Am I good to go whenever? Oh, and did Gamertag and Saving Peach or Zelda get donated towards? Because that's a thing for now. I don't know if those got donated towards. Is there a gamer tag I gotta do, or is there no donation? Okay. What about gamer tag? Save my favorite. All right. All right, we'll just do this time. Okay. All right, so we do this run on easy because it's the fastest. So, yeah. So I'll count down and we'll start the timer on go. So, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So right off the bat, we're gonna skip cutscenes because in this game all the cutscenes are skippable just by pressing start button and the A button if you're on a GameCube controller. And we're gonna use Kirby because there's a very intricate strat that involves pressing the B button and falling off. That I messed up actually. Okay. Just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Alright, go. Sometimes my controller can input a down input, but it's alright. So we're just going to mash through some more cutscenes. And so the reason we're picking Kirby right here is because since we were Kirby for the last section, the game can load a little bit quicker than it normally would if I were to pick up other characters. So like part of loading for this game involves the game knowing what character you were last playing as. So like entering stages with characters that you were just playing as is a little bit faster than entering stages that you like obviously weren't playing as. So there'll be instances where we pick characters solely because it'll load a lot faster, or we'll do certain strategies to make the game load a little bit faster. And what happened right there was in that cutscene right there, Mario gets hit to the heavens, and Zelda and Peach both get captured into a cage. Depending on who you save, it also changes the story of a little bit, and also like what else am I trying to say? It changes the story a little bit, and it also changes like what happens gameplay wise. So if we were to save Peach, it would change a few of the later stages a bit, and also story. But it is faster to save Zelda, so that's who we're gonna save. And I can get into why in a little bit. Let me get there. We're now with Pit. Pit was watching that fight from above, and then he notices that all the bad stuff started happening. So he's decided to come down and help us. Pit's going to be able to show us our first instance of using Glide in this run. Glide's a very useful movement technique in Subspace. It's really fast, especially if you can set it up well. And it's helpful for getting skipping fights, doing faster movement through stages, and all that fun stuff. And you'll see more of that later on. So right here we're going to do some particularly timed glide ups and downs so that we can build up enough speed and height to just be able to fly over the entirety of the stage. playing it a little bit safe, but right here there's a fight that you normally have to do, but we just jumped over the trigger, which you'll also see a bit later on in this run. So yeah, we literally just flew over the entirety of that stage, and right here is our first instance of the difference between if you save Peach or Zelda. So since we saved Zelda, she is the faster one, and she's faster because we can be Sheik. Sheik's running speed is a lot better, and she's pretty good with fights and stuff like that. So that's why we want to be Sheik for this. And saving Peach is pretty slow because Peach isn't even faster than Kirby. So even if you were to save Peach, using Kirby is better than using Peach. So, but we're saving Zelda. So we're just doing some basic movement through the stage. Not much to really talk about. That enemy right there, there's certain enemies that have no hitboxes, which is why I can kind of just run through them like these Primates right there. But those big enemies that I had to roll through, they have a very weird hitbox detection. It's kind of like they have a hitbox at the front of them, and they have a hitbox at the back of them, kind of like their face and their tail. For those specific enemies, they're called Totos. So what you can do with those is, if you just roll through them, you'll roll past the first hitbox, and then the second hitbox is right at the end, so it'll just push you out. So it's pretty. Okay, let's see what happened. Whoa. Okay, that was a little bit of bad RNG, but that's okay. But yeah, so usually we'll just roll through those Toto enemies, and whenever there's an enemy that has a big hitbox, and it's usually just bigger enemies in general, we'll just end up try and time this correctly. Okay, cool. So I want to make sure I got that giant mushroom, because giant mushrooms are really useful for movement sections. They're not always the most useful item to get, but right here it's really good to get that at the end of that fight. And I'm messing that up. Right. There's also certain instances where I was going for right there too, making sure that the with that glider went up instead of like to the side or whatever when I killed it, because there's enemies can take a longer time to despawn or die depending on what direction that you hit them in. So for instance, that enemy that we just killed, on the last hit I want to send it upwards because it'll die the quickest if I do that, versus if I were to hit it towards the left or right, it would take a lot longer for the fight to end, because the enemy would take a little bit longer to despawn. And those fights that you get locked in, it's about killing the enemies that the game acknowledges that are in the fight that you need to kill. It's not just killing it, it's getting it off screen and despawned. So it's pretty basic fights right there. Right now in the story, we're now a lot in the beginning of the story of this game. It's kind of just moving from character to character storyline, so that we can figure out what's going on with each individual character or group of characters, and then eventually all the stories will start syncing up. But right now, literally, we're just DK and Diddy because some Koopas and Goombas are stealing our bananas, and we're mad about it. And those of you who didn't watch the New Game Plus run, or race yesterday, I'm still gonna SD here because I want to be DK for the end of this section. But there's instances in this run where it is faster to do certain stages on different difficulties. That's not allowed in this category because this category is specified by difficulty. But side scrollers or auto scrollers are like one of the main things that make different difficulties faster, and it's because auto-scrollers for the most part go by a little bit quicker on harder difficulties than on, like, the easier the difficulty, the slower the auto-scroller, basically. So, yes. We're gonna be Mario for here. The main reason that I like to pick Mario here is basically there's just a little bit of a fall section right after these blocks, and I just can clear it much easier with Mario. Mario and Pit's run speed, I want to say, are like mostly equal, and Mario just has a better time with breaking the blocks to get to the door. So yes, just right there is very fluid with that. You don't have to stop and like down tilt or something like that, like Pit does. Alright, so then now we're just in a bunch of fights. Another way to make fights go by a lot faster is hitting them. So like either hitting them in the direction that they're gonna despawn the fastest, or hitting them into another enemy or an item that has a hitbox. That's unfair. Okay, that's a little bit of better RNG right there. Alright, well, but yeah, so hitting them into an item or enemy that that also has a hitbox will also despawn the enemy. Is like, that's the fastest way to do it, is to just hit them into another enemy, because they'll just instantly despawn, which I can probably show off a little. Like, I'll be able to show off definitely in the run, but if I can pull it off here. And there are some items that are really useful, like bats, beam swords. Okay, right there. So right there, I hit that Primate into the Spock, and he just instantly despawned. Ooh, that was a really good angle. All right. So right here, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, like during the jungle split, they got their bananas taken away, and then they got their bananas back, but then DK was noticed that Diddy Kong was about to get kind of turned into a trophy. And turning into a trophy is basically dying in this game, because all the characters are trophies. So DK punched Diddy. Oh my, I passed the wrong character. Okay, that's fine. So Diddy Kong gets knocked out of the way, and DK gets captured by the bad guys. And we'll just take this death here. I won't be Fox for this movement section. Oh, okay. So Diddy's now just kind of walking around trying to find Donkey Kong, and then he gets captured by Rayquaza. Rayquaza starts to, like, I don't even know, he like takes him and he's like scaring him, and then Fox comes and saves him, and now they're basically just a team. Oh. Okay then. Now we're just doing some cool movement. There's so these doors, these blue and yellow doors, like the best way for me to describe what that is that it's basically like it's the same room and same area, just in like a different realm sort of thing. And just like entering it brings you to basically the same area, just a few differences. And that's the gimmick of the yellow and blue doors. We had to do that fight to make that bomb box show up, which opened up that area with the button, and then just press the button, go into the door. Because if we were to try and go into that red door earlier, it would just be a big fire room. We wouldn't be able to proceed or anything. And no forward throw killed those things. Alright. Yeah, so now we're just on another auto-scroller. There'll be instances where, so there's these secret doors. There's doors that you don't actually have to go into. And that's one of them. It's also, but it's not one that is useful to the run. But there are a few that are useful to speeding up certain rooms because of auto-scrollers. Which we'll get into a little bit later into the run. But that is a thing. Going into extra doors is not slow for some stages. Alright, so we're just going to SD here because I just don't want to be Fox anymore. Being Diddy Kong is a little bit faster for the end of the stage because there's a fight, and Diddy Kong's really good with fights. Alright. So here's Dark Bowser, or Shadow Bowser. He's a bad boy. He's also not doing what I need him to do. There we go. So basically what that is it's basically Bowser, and the subspace matter, I guess, is like the best way to explain what it is. The subspace matter copied Bowser and just made like just an evil Bowser, and then he sent it to attack us, and we just killed it. So Bowser is, surprise, one of the bad characters in this game. He's a bad boy. So now we're with Earthbound characters. Lucas was just kind of walking around, and then Porky just comes up behind him and is now chasing him. So now we're running away. That item right there is an instance of an item with a hitbox that you can hit him into, which you just saw with that Prime Mid. And along with those doors that I talked about, like just entering extra doors, the differences between any percent and 100% are, in 100% you have to collect all the, like save all the characters in Subspace, which you'll obviously see later on in Subspace section. You have to save all the characters, you have to enter all the doors and collect all the golden boxes and the items that are inside. And those are just the main differences of any percent, 100%. Alright. So we're gonna be Lucas again. For both reasons of he's better for this fight, and he also will load in faster because we're already Lucas. So it's just like a coincidence that he's also better for the fight. I'm not getting good RNG, but I got pretty decent RNG in the beginning of that, so it's alright. You basically just don't want Porky to go up, and he did, but he did it at the very end, so it was alright. And again, we're gonna be Lucas, partially for loading section, or for loading part like reasons, and also He's a little bit, like, him and Squirtle both can do this stage pretty well with movement-wise. I personally have a better time with fights with Lucas, and also there's a fight skip at the end of this stage that you can only do with Lucas, so... I don't want up tilt. Alright, it's fine. Ooh. These guys are pretty easy to kill, but they can sometimes be a little trolly and kind of like jump out of the way or something like that. Right now they're working with me quite well. Yeah, that was really well. So this fight skip is a lot easier to pull off on New Game Plus because we're able to play as whatever character we want. But right here, since we're only limited to Lucas and Squirtle, we don't have the luxury of gliding. So what we're going to do is this fight skip is very, very precise. You have to be at the very edge of that platform. If I was anywhere closer in towards that entire platform, it wouldn't have worked. I would have spawned the fight. So you have to be very, very precise with that, with your movement there. But we got it, because I practice a lot. But yeah, so we skipped that fight. It saves a little bit of time. It's one of the more advanced fight skips, and it's not something that you don't typically need to really go for until you're a little bit better at the game, I guess. It's not the biggest time save, but it's a nice time save once you get more optimized with your runs. But Lucas is really good with fight skips because his up B gets so much height. There's instances, so like there's characters obviously that are like really, really good in Brawl. So for example, Olimar is like one of the best characters in Brawl, competitive wise and stuff like that, right? In the single player mode though, the single player mode is like a different story. There's characters that are pretty good with competitive scene and stuff like that, but just suck in single player mode. Olimar is one of those characters that just sucks in single player mode. He's pretty good with like target test, but like in Subspace particularly, Olimar is awful. Olimar's ZSS isn't that great. Lucario is also not that great in single player mode or Subspace. So it's actually really interesting, like the characters that are good at Subspace and like useful in Subspace. That aren't actually good in like competitive scene or whatever. And this is the only instance where we will not say, or we will not be Meta Knight when it's given the chance. Meta Knight is obviously, even though he's really good, he's good competitively, but he's also really good. Wait a second. Okay, we're good. He's also really good in Subspace, obviously. Meta Knight's super, super heroic. But we're going to be Marth for the fight just because it's a little bit more consistent for me. And then we're going to SD at the end because I want to be Meta Knight for this section. And I'm going to be quiet so that I can explain it later. So I have to pull this off and it's not the easiest. A little bit of save here. Got 2 prime mints, it's kind of bad, but it's alright. We're good. Ooh, I messed up. Yeah, I messed that up. Alright. Alright, so what I was supposed to do there was I was supposed to fly over this fight skip as well. This is a little bit of a higher trigger for this fight skip. It's actually like really high. And I just dipped down a little too early, so I didn't have enough height. But basically what happens there is, so we skip the first fight, and then we enter the second fight. After the second fight, there's not supposed to be an auto-scroller until a certain point, so it doesn't matter about that. But after the first fight, because we actually despawn the second fight by entering the first fight. So at that point, the game's like, well, you're not in the first fight because you beat the second fight, but you canceled out the second fight. So the enemies that are in the first fight will spawn. That's why we want at least one of those Primids to follow me, so that I can continue that charade of me being being done with the second fight, but like technically not done with the first fight. So I have the Primid follow me to a specific spot, and there's a visual cue that I use to kill those Primids, and I wait for the platform, like one of the platforms on screen, to fully be on the screen, and then I can kill the Primid. So once you kill the Primid, the game's like, oh yeah, you beat the first one. Cool. There's not supposed to be an auto-scroller after the first fight. So the game doesn't do the auto-scroller. It cancels out the auto-scroller, which is what I did do. At that point, there's no auto-scroller, and the game's like, okay, cool, you finished the first fight. But after a little bit, because that's timed, obviously, because I didn't get that second fight, and then it killed me. So, also in that last section, I just skipped over a big fight, which is nice. So the game eventually will be like, well, you're not supposed to be here, and then it tries to fix it, right? I was hoping they would drop down. Oh. So I have to fly over all those fight skips and do movement pretty precisely so that I can get to that door in time before the game kills me. And if you miss a fight skip, it's basically rip. You just take the death. I did most of that stage correctly, so. And this is just your basic stage. Yoshi's another character that is a good instance of, he's not good competitive-wise and whatnot, but in Subspace, he's super useful. All of his tools are very useful for Subspace. He's also teamed with Link, which is like one of the worst, so. I don't want this item. Jeez. And then lore-wise for that last stage, by the way, and for the stage before that, was when Lucas was getting chased, Ness came by and saved him, and then afterwards, Ness gets captured because the bad guy was trying to capture Ness into turn into a trophy, and then Ness kept dodging it, and then he went to kill Lucas, and then Ness pushed him out of the way and sacrificed himself. So. And then Lucas runs into Pokemon Trainer. And then Battlefield Fortress was just Martha's running around. And then he runs into Meta Knight, and they think that they're foes at first, and then they start to fight, and then they team up together and fight the Primids, and then and then they come along with Ike, and then that's about it for that. And then the last one is literally just Link and Yoshi are both in a forest, and they both decide to fight together. It's pretty basic stuff. And right here, Pikachu is being held captive in that little container that was behind him, and being absorbed of his energy, which is kind of messed up. Hito would be kind of mad, TBH. But Zero Suit freeze him. So now we can play as Pika, and Pika's pretty fast. I'm not the best at quick attack cancels or anything like that, but using quick attack is a very useful method of movement. Right here, so there's a button that's right up there that makes that platform move back, which is what we need to progress into the stage. Oh, okay. And you're typically supposed to have to get another key and like go and enter that top room and press the button. But with Pikachu, you can also do it with Zerasu. You can just up B or down B for Pikachu, and just press the button with Thunder. So that's what we do. Shout out to this invisible wall. This lets Pikachu waddle. And for some reason, after that fight, when that button spawns, the button's hitbox is like gigantic, which is why I didn't have to go up to it and press it. I was able to just press jab, and the hitbox was just far out enough for me to be able to hit it. Which is cool. Cool little tech. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. That Primate did not come towards me whatsoever. I kind of want them all to just bundle up and run towards me, but that one did not have the time to do so. Alright. So this stage also is different because of saving Peach or Zelda. So if we saved Peach, instead of being Pit and Mario, we would have Yoshi and Link to save from. Because what is happening right here is that we're getting attacked by this Shadow Zelda. Because Zelda gets captured, basically. Even though we saved her, she gets captured anyway. And she gets turned into, well, her statue gets copied and turned into like a bad Zelda. And then right in that cutscene that we just skipped, Link and Yoshi are just running around. They see that Pit and Mario kill Zelda, and they don't know that it's a Shadow Zelda. So then they get mad and they fight each other. And we would, again, if we saved Peach, we would be Link and Yoshi, and Mario would have thought we killed Peach instead of Zelda. So. And basically we just want to get them over to the side. That works too. Alright. And now, after fighting each other, we're all like, hey, we're cool. And now we're all a group. And we're gonna be Yoshi's, because Yoshi's good. basic fight movement because Yoshi's good, like I said earlier. There we go. Oh, went pretty well. So yeah, so now we're gonna start seeing characters' storylines start meshed together and all that fun stuff. So. Oh, that aren't you. Alright. Now the bonk animation's a little bit deeper. This is a stage, so there's stages where on different difficulties, the auto-scroller isn't actually that much faster for whatever reason, because usually it's just way faster for most stages. But this stage, along with like a few other ones, are instances where the auto-scroller just isn't faster. Or if it is, it's by like only a few seconds, which is usually not the case. Because like using extremities, like going to the extreme, like easy is obviously the slowest and then intense is the fastest. But for whatever reason, Lakeshore is just not much faster at all for whatever reason. It doesn't make any sense. Cool. And also, I'm mashing through the rest of the characters just because it really doesn't matter. There's only a few instances where it matters what the selection of characters I pick are. Whoops, I jumped too early. For the most part, it doesn't matter at all, though. It's just pick whoever the first one that you need is and just mash after that. And I'm mashing fast by, if you mash both, like, start and A, start and A are both inputs for selecting a character, so you just mash both at the same time, it double selects. And now, in terms of lore with this group, they're just traversing and trying to figure out what's happening. Trying to get their princesses back and all that fun stuff. Don't want those trophy items. Oh, that worked out real well. I didn't mean to pick that up, but it's alright. Alright. So we're gonna be Lucas again. The stage is not exactly that much different between who, like in terms of movement at least. I think Lucas is better for movement in this stage personally. His run speed isn't that bad, but also he's the only one that can do this. Which, oh, I just messed it up. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I pulled an SWC. So you can skip this fight, and it's not a hard fight to skip. I just pulled an SWC. Alright, so you're actually able to skip that fight, but I missed my up B angle. That's fine though. That's not a long fight anyway. But you're able to skip that fight with Lucas, but just by doing an up B angle. And then the rest of the stage is just kind of fights and basic movement, so it's not that big of a deal. And it's RNG whether they're going to attack or not, and they did, so we're just gonna move through this. I'm supposed to press buttons, but I'm not able to do so. cool. So these fights all have like somewhat of a pattern, especially that first one at least. Oh, what? Alright. Okay. Alright, we're good. That's a neat little movement tech. Using his side B and then the side magnet. It's like a cool little momentum boost that we used pretty decently in this run. Alright, so right here, we meet back with Wario, and as we remember, Lucas has some beef with Wario, so we're gonna let Lucas let his anger out. Usually it's not this. Usually he'll cooperate a little bit better, but that's alright. Dang, if you let go of that, or if you stop using egg roll at a certain point right there, you'll get a lot of momentum. You'll just like go flying on that platform, but that's alright. Alright. That fight went alright. This stage is like known for having really wonky fights, especially more specifically that first one. But I think I've cracked the code, I guess, for that fight. Also, Yoshi along with Lucas have a nice little jump cancel. Like they can cancel their jumps basically. So I kind of do that a lot. I like to just I didn't want that. Let go of it. Nice. Okay, cool. We're good. Good thing that bomb was there, so I was able to drop it. But I'll do that sometimes. I like to cancel my jumps just to optimize movement just a little bit more. Ooh. Okay. Alright then. Not supposed to do that. I did not think I was gonna fall off. That's alright though. Link needs some showtime. Or on-screen time. Even though he sucks. Alright. Alright, so right there, that menuing was pretty fast. If you, I mean, if you wouldn't notice, that's fair. But that menu is really fast. So I actually play on the PAL version of this game because the PAL version is actually a lot faster. It's faster for a few reasons. One of them being on a certain stage, and we'll get to that in a second. And the other one being The menuing for some reason is just a lot faster in this game, in this version. I don't really know why, but it is. You're able to buffer inputs a lot for the menuing screen, and also it's just faster. Like the menuing for like the hub world, I guess, is a lot faster for some reason. Okay. So yeah, we use Squirtle because that cycle that I just did there is pretty tight. You're able to do it with Lucas. It's just a lot harder with Lucas, so we just do it with Squirtle because he's a lot smaller character. And also, since it doesn't really matter who we are at the end, like going into this auto-scroller, because it's an auto-scroller. Alright, so right here, I want to be Lucas going into the next section of this stage, so I'm going to just take an SD here. And like I said earlier, with certain doors being extra doors that we don't typically need to go into, but are a little bit faster, we're going to see our first instance of that here. So this autoscroll goes by a little bit more after that door. But entering that door and then exiting stops the auto-scroller, so we're able to just free fall after the fact. So it saves a few seconds. It's a nice little time save. Alright, cool. And these fights all have kind of like a choreographed fight almost, where I do a certain group of attacks and it should kill them. I don't actually need this item. But... Perfect. Alright, that went really well. Alright. Now we literally just have to press these buttons. On easy, they're pretty free for the most part to just go press them and go to the door. Usually, like on harder difficulties, if you mess up, you probably have to go back and repress buttons, but this is easy, so it's not that bad. And then right here, like I said earlier, the hitbox is only in the front and the back of the Totos, so you can literally just jump right into the middle of them and you'll be fine. That's what we did right there. Oh, that was unfortunate. Oh, that was a sweet spot, but he up-beat. All right, so for right here, we want to be Lucas because he's really good with fights. Also, Ivysaur and Squirtle aren't the best. And the strat is to just kind of get him off stage and then back air him, but he can be kind of trolly a lot. And he was definitely trolling, so. And that was another good example of really good movement, or menuing on PAL. You can't do that kind of menuing on NTSC. Alright, so now we're back with the swordsman characters. There is a clip here that I'm going to try and attempt, because it is faster, but it's not faster to go for it for extended periods of time. It's called Mountain Clip. These little edges that you see like on the side here, there's going to be more of them on the opposite side, obviously, of the mountain. And you're able to clip into the mountain and skip having to go all the way up the mountain, up like basically up and around. It's just a little precise and difficult to pull off, but I'll go for it and see if I can get it. Okay, I get it. Alright, we didn't get it. That's fine though. So, this is just like the basic strat that we do. We'll go up to the top, there's a fight up there, but if you just tornado over it, you're able to skip it and just fall back down. But if the skip were to go correctly, you just clip into the mountain and you just literally just clip on the other side and you don't have to do any of that. Quite useful, it's just hard. And it doesn't save enough time for it to be like super worth it, if that makes sense. And you know, using a good instance of gliding to make a room a lot faster, skipping over a bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool. Oops. Alright. That's another instance of hitting the enemies in a certain direction to make the fight end quicker. Heading them into that blast zone is a lot faster than hitting them into like the left or right, or left or like up or down or whatever. And now, after that section, we come across this Gallium dude, this big bad boyo, and we just have to fight him. Meta Knight's good with bosses. His Nair is really useful. His down smash is also really useful. So it's the best one for fights, for boss fights. Alright, so right here, after that fight that we just had with Gallium, he like gets mad and then falls through the ground. And then he falls like literally right on top of Pokemon Trainer and Lucas. So that's why we are them now. And also Charizard's broken, so he just rock smash a few times and then he's dead. Alright, so this stage has a PAL exclusive skip on it, and this is the big reason as to why PAL is faster. So everything that I'm doing right now is possible on NTSC. You're able to skip that fight by doing the same strat on NTSC. Just right here, when you die on NTSC or any other version, you spawn back at the beginning before the fight skip. On PAL, it puts you right at the very end of basically where the autoscroller would be. So what we literally just skipped is a fight at the beginning, an autoscroller that lasts over a minute, and another fight. So we just skipped half of the stage just like that. Literally just because of a different version. So And then right here, we're just skipping another fight. So all of the stage is you're able to skip like almost all of it. So pretty useful stuff. Yeah, so the only version that we haven't tested this skip on is Korean version. So yeah, that's a PAL exclusive skip for the most part, unless it's on Korean as well, which wouldn't really make much sense, but. So this stage, we're now going to start getting into a lot more difficult stages. This is a pretty difficult stage for the most part. There's a lot of movement that has to be done. And there's just a lot of stuff that can go wrong with this stage. So it looks really cool when done correctly. It's kind of sloppy at the moment, but okay, cool. Oh, no. Okay. Okay, come on. Alright. The puppets are always trolls. And, like, the bullet bills getting in the way isn't too helpful either. But that was alright. So this is also going to have instances where getting into a secret door is going to help quicken this auto-scroller a bit. Okay. Alright. Alright, so going into that secret door, it just warps us up this high up into the autoscroller, which it saves a little bit of time. It's nothing crazy, but it's a nice little time save. And then there's a door that we have to get into that just progresses us into the stage. And obviously getting into the door as soon as possible is faster, so we want to get into this door fast enough. We're just going to wait just a little bit so that we don't die. And then get into the door. And since we were already Fox, also because he's just really good for the fight, we're going to be Fox just because it spawns the fight a little bit sooner. Okay, I tripped. That was weird. Alright, there we go. We're just run to the end, and then he comes up to you, and you just back throw him, and if he doesn't die from the back throw, you just F smash. And since we were Fox, entering this movement section is going to be a little bit faster since we were already Fox. So just using Fox here is just super useful. Ooh. Alright, that went well. Alright, perfect. Yep, that went perfect. Good. One last section here that can troll, but I think I can do it. I have the most trouble with this section right here, which is a little weird because it's not the hardest part, but for me it's hard. Yeah, I just messed it up again. So Koopas are a really annoying enemy. If you don't kill them correctly, they'll respawn. And that's what happened there. I didn't kill the first two correctly, so I was basically just doomed. But that's alright. Alright, so this is another pretty intricate stage. We're going to start off with Zero Suit, because Zero Suit's movement is really useful for just for this first room. The rest of it is not that great, so... okay. Usually that dash attack is supposed to kill both of them, but it didn't. That's alright. We didn't die. Somehow. Alright. Yeah, Zero Suit's run speed is really useful. Her dash attack is supposed to kill those guys. And she's also really good with this section right there, because you can just down air past all that. That's supposed to be like a big long ladder that you're supposed to take down. But with down air, you can just zoom right down. Alright, so now we're going to be Pikachu. This fight's really, really good with Pikachu. You basically just want to down smash and send them up, and then follow their DI with a Thunder. Oh. Ah, dang. Sometimes they control a little bit, but we're good. So we're actually going to be Samus for here. Samus is probably not the best in terms of movement between Pikachu and Samus, but we want to be Pikachu a little bit later on into the stage. So we're going to be Samus so that we can SD into Pikachu. That's why we're doing this movement with Samus. She's also really not that bad with this movement. Alright, this up. There's supposed to be a fight that's up here that we're supposed to just go to, but doing this little bit of a warp that we're going to do. So there's certain triggers on the stage that warps you to certain parts of it. We just want to warp right down to here. There's a button up there that we just pressed, so we just skipped a fight. And then doing those very specifically timed up Bs, we're able to get onto the platform as soon as possible and get into this door. This. Cool. You're supposed to have to go like down and around for that to get up into that warp, and then you're supposed to come out going down from this, come into this room coming down. But doing those very precise jumps and up Bs, we're able to skip having to do all that. Oops. For this fight, if we were to get really good items, so a really good item to get in boss fights, this is actually one of them. I'll grab that. You just want to get stuff that does a lot of damage to enemies, right? So Curry does a lot of extra damage because we're literally just standing there and it's just giving out damage. But the best item to get in a boss fight is a cracker cannon, I think is what it's called, or cracker launcher. Basically the bazooka. And it does a lot of damage to just bosses in general. So it's really useful to get. It's just RNG whether you get it or not. Getting the curry there wasn't bad though. That cutscene that we skipped for this stage is really funny. Captain Falcon comes in all heroically and kills like all of Olimar's Pikmin. All the little Pikmin are just hanging out. And right there, we only have to worry about killing the shell pod that those 2 shell pods that I killed, and the birds kill themselves if you stand on the far right side, so. Remember me DK for the fight. He's just a little bit better for this fight. He's a little harder to pull it off with, but he is, if you can pull it off, he's a lot better. The item sucks to get right there with those enemies because they'll just stay in shield. All right. So this stage is really, really cool. It's a difficult stage. We kind of got a break from our difficult stage with Outside the Ancient Ruins, but now we're back to another difficult stage. We're on a pretty tight cycle right here. Let's see if I can get it. Alright, we got late cycle, but... Oh, we got early cycle, but we got late of early cycle. We got it, so... We're good. Alright. So, neat little fact about this stage is that it's actually faster to exit the stage and so if you game over in a stage in Subspace and you go back to the map, you're able to enter the stage again and pick the difficulty you want to do the stage on, because the game's like, oh, you probably, you know, if you game over, you probably need to change difficulty, so you can change to an easy difficulty. But you know, we did it on easy, so it doesn't matter at that point, but we're still able to change the difficulty. So if we were to game over and then re-enter the stage on intense, and do the stage on intense, it's actually faster if you pull it off correctly. It's a little difficult because there's a fight at the end, but this auto-scroller takes so long on easy that it's faster to game over, re-enter the stage on intense, and do the stage on intense. That's not allowed because we do this run on easy, but pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's just what's going on right now. This is a pretty long side-scroller part. We'll be able to skip the rest, the very end of the solid scroll just by. Okay, all right. It's that kind of run today, guys. Oh my goodness! All right, I guess we're doing this. So you're supposed to just go into that door. I don't know why it didn't go into the door, but you didn't. So. But ice climbers are not great, so we're just going to SD here. So if you hit those glices into each other, it's actually like a little bit faster. Because obviously it ends the fight, and they do enough damage to each other to just SD, or to just die, basically. Yeah. Whoops. Alright, so this is already going not the way it should. Okay, cool. You just want to get him over to that side particularly because it's a little easier to do it on that side. But get him over to that side and down smash him because you can use the ice physics to your advantage. But he was kind of trolling a little bit. And this is just a big fight. And Yoshi's really good with fights. We're going to be Yoshi. What the heck? Jeez. Alright. Pretty basic stuff. Pretty basic stuff. Alright. So there was a cutscene a lot earlier on in the run, like an hour ago. Well, not like an hour ago, but like 50 minutes ago. That involved a box. And now we know what that box was. It was Snake hiding. So now we're Snake. We're not going to be Snake much longer. And we're done with being Snake. So Meta Knight and Lucario meet up. And then they find Snake. And now they're a group. A weird trio, but a trio nonetheless. But Meta Knight's there, so we're gonna pick him because Meta Knight's busted. Lucario isn't that great, honestly. Snake isn't the worst, but he's just a little slow, run speed wise. So I'm gonna take it the easy way. Let's spring press the button. We just have to kill these 3 portals, and then press the button in that room. And then we can move on. So like I said earlier on and during like Battle Fortress, Meta Knight doesn't have the easiest of times with fights. So we're gonna try and cheese this fight just a little bit. That's good RNG to get the Mega Mushroom that I got. That went a little bit better than expected just because of the Mega Mushroom, but you basically just want to kind of get the primates off stage instead of just killing them. It's a little easier for Meta Knight to do, and it works, so... And then right here, we have to just kill these enemies and make those doors go away by killing each one. Shout out to Zoroark Films for finding this strat here. Where we can hit this primate through the door, or through the wall, sorry. sometimes you can get the double hit on that down smash, or the double hit of the down smash on that. I got a lot of good hits on with the Nair, but we missed the double down smash. That's still good. Right here, you can be Snake for this fight, actually. It just takes a little bit longer to load, so you might as well just be Meta Knight, because Meta Knight does the same thing, basically. If not better. Whoops. Whoa. Okay, okay. Alright. Oh, wow. Basically, what we want to do is just get them over to the side. You can just down smash them over to the side, but they trolled a little bit, but it worked out. Alright, so now Zelda and Peach finally got freed from being captured. So Zelda turns into Sheik, and now they're trying to find their way to the other side of the ship that they were being captured on, which they stole. So the bad guys stole Meta Knight's ship. So rip that. Meta Knight is not a happy boy about that. Wait, so we're Peach, or we're Sheik because Sheik is faster, like just in every way. Better fighter, better running speed, better everything. Okay, you know what? I guess we're Peach now. So that, for whatever reason, that ledge doesn't have a grabbable ledge. It doesn't really make much sense, but it doesn't. So yes, that was kind of dumb, but it's all right. What? Yikes. Something I forgot to mention is that in Subspace, all the characters are kind of neutralized. So either they were given nerfs or buffs to their jump speed, heights, or jump height, run speed, all that fun stuff. Just to make it more fair to use other characters. So like, you know, so it's more balanced, I guess. So it's like kind of a bad thing for some characters, Peach being one of them. Peach is some pretty basic movement. Alright, so right here, this big group finally meets up. Meta Knight is not here at the moment, but it's okay because we're Snake, and Snake has Dacus. Dacus is stands for dash attack cancel up smash. It's a pretty good move for movement. The movement, it kind of depends on where you're at in certain stages and stuff like that. But for this fight, whenever you get like hit away, it's really useful to do if you can pull it off, which I did not right there. But it's hard to do it when there's an item right there. But Dacus does really good damage, and also his F tilt does really good for like damage to him. So that's why we pick Snake right there. And right here, it's like this is such a short stage. It's kind of like doesn't matter who you pick. I like to pick Pikachu because I like to think Pikachu's probably a little bit faster for the most part. Just because, you know, running speed's a little bit better. I think Pikachu has a little bit easier time killing, but most of the other top runners like to use Samus here, but It's such a short stage, it really doesn't matter much. Alright. Alright, so this is the longest stage in terms of Subspace. There's a lot that can go wrong in this stage, and there's a lot that can happen. Which is why I put Diddy as my second character, because if I just menued, I would have Olimar as my second character, and I don't want to be Olimar at all. So, just in case something bad happens, I have backup characters. But yeah, there's a lot that can go wrong in the stage, and there's a lot that happens. That's weird. Alright. Guess we're good. Let's hope for the best here. This door is like the hardest door to get into, I swear. Alright, so this door here, we have to press 3 switches that like make the door, I guess, accessible. So they're all in just these sections of this room, so we just have to go into the section and do it. You're actually able to skip this fight that I just did. Not on any percent, or like not with the characters that were given, but on like New Game Plus you can skip it. Alright, some pretty good movement right there. That was trolly. Alright, so the camera is really wonky right there. If I didn't like get out of that slide, I would have died. The camera wouldn't have caught up and I would have just been shot to my death. So I jumped out just to be careful. What? Alright. So this fight's really, really good with Falcon. That's why we're beating him. I don't know. It also loads faster because we were already Falcon, so. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's fine. There could have been worse parts I picked this up. I was trying to save it for a little bit later on in the stage, but it's fine. It's really not that big of a deal. That's a little unfair there. Getting a Mega Mushroom right at this section is actually not great. It's not bad for like later on in the stage, like right about now, it's not the worst. But this fight is actually not that great for Mega Mushrooms. Just because Falcon doesn't really, he doesn't really like gain much from them. He's perfectly fine without them. Alright, that went well. Alright, so right here, we're actually gonna risk like a few frames in terms of menuing, just so that we can have Donkey Kong second. So the reason we want to have Donkey Kong second is at the end of the stage, we're going to use Donkey Kong in a fight. And like I said earlier, we sometimes will do certain strats or pick certain characters in a certain order so that the loading of the game is a little bit faster. So at the end of the stage, there's a boss fight, and DK is pretty good with boss fights. And he's we're pretty sure he's the fastest for the fight that we're going to do. The only person that's contesting is Falcon, but we seem to have better results with DK. So we want to be DK by the end of the split, but we don't want to waste the time selecting DK during the character selection during the fight, because it'll just waste time since we weren't DK. So before the end of the stage, we're going to SD as Falcon so that we can enter the character selection as Donkey Kong, so that the loading for the fight is a lot faster, and it actually saves like 7 to 8 seconds over just entering in with Falcon and then picking Donkey Kong. It's kind of crazy how much time it saves for loading, but it does save quite a bit. Oh crap. Supposed to air dodge through those, but I didn't air dodge it the third time. We're gonna take this death now. All right. I always forget that you can't hit him with that. I need one more hit. All right, we're good. So yeah, as you could probably tell, even just by not knowing much about it, like that fight started pretty quickly. So, whoops. All right, so we're gonna be Meta Knight for this section. We're obviously able to pick from a wide variety of characters. I didn't jump enough. But Meta Knight is super broken with this stage. We have Pit as backup if something bad goes wrong, but hopefully nothing bad happens. The CDs, in terms of 100%ing, you'll either get like stickers or trophies or CDs. CDs are like the only thing that you really shouldn't pick up, because when you get a CD, you get like a little text screen after you exit out the stage, or after you go back to like the main menu, I guess, which we will do later on in the maze, in Great Maze. So we don't want to pick up CDs. It'll waste a little bit of time. So using glide to our advantage, we're just gonna set up to get quite a bit of top speed. And then we're going to carefully maneuver our way above all these fights and into the door. Pretty easy stuff. You're pretty high up there when you're doing those fight skips, so like there is definitely a chance that you die. But I like to always I correct where I am just so that I don't die off the top, but I don't go too low so I don't spawn a fight. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. I would have gotten it. I was just a little too much to the right. A little bit faster than going over here and climbing those buttons. Or climbing those platforms. So right here, we're only going to save characters that we need that make the maze faster. Whether that be through menuing, make it fast through menuing, or we're going to use them in the maze. That's how we determine what characters we select, or that we pick. A little bit of a tricky door to get into, and those mites can just hit you out of the way, which is what happened. Good thing I didn't die, though. Sometimes those mites can just hit you into the blast zone. And very similar to the first fight of this run, there's a Kirby character and a Mario character, and we just have to do that. A little bit of weird RNG, but that was fun. Whoops. So in terms of the lore, why these characters are, why the characters that we're playing as are alive. So what happened at the end of the entrance split was all the characters were killed by Taboo. So in the story, Luigi and Ness are captured by DDD. Ness is originally captured by Wario, but DDD is kind of he's kind of just doing what he wants, and he steals the stuff that Wario had. So Wario had the Ness, and DDD also just got Luigi. He just killed Luigi, basically. And he also had Peach at one point, but Peach got taken away and all that fun stuff. So we were just Ness and Luigi. So DDD gave Ness and Luigi a little emblem of his face that protected them from something. I don't really know exactly what the deal is, but it protects them from death, I guess. And so after everyone died, Ness and Luigi were brought back to life because they had the emblem on them. Peach was given an emblem, but it came off during the other story stuff that was happening. So, we're Ness and Luigi, and then Ness and Luigi notice that DDD's face on the emblem, so they bring DDD back to life, and that's why we're that group. And right now we're Kirby because the emblem that was on Peach fell off, and Kirby, you'll see, if we were watching the cutscenes, Kirby notices that something fell off, and he just kind of looks at it, and then that's the end of the thing. I guess that's the end of the cutscene. Well, Kirby eats it. And since he ate the emblem that brings it back to life, it brings it back to life. So that's why we're Kirby right now. And that's your lore. Oh, I was supposed to hit him. Oh my goodness, okay. If you just use hammer on these guys, they die in one hit. Now they extra die in one hit. Okay, well that went poorly. Everything else before that went fine. Alright. Alright, so now we're in the Great Maze, the last section of the run. This is, the way that I see Great Maze is that it's kind of like a completely separate part of the run. There's so much that happens in this part, and so much time you can lose or save. I just see it as like a different run almost. Good job. Okay, that's bad. Oh my goodness. Alright. Off to not a great start. But... we don't exactly want to take damage there, but it's alright. So basically, the Great Maze is just, we have to fight every character. There's like a shadow character of each character. And we have to fight all of them and also all the bosses. So that's just what we gotta do here. And Meta Knight is really, really, really good here. His movement's really good. He kills really easily. His up B is really, really good with killing. And yeah. Just gliding through everything. That was a little bit of an accident, but that's fine. Getting them off the top isn't ideal, but it works. You know, getting the kill is good. Here we're also, this is showing us the doors again, the blue and yellow doors. So like on the blue door side, these blocks aren't breakable, but on the yellow door side they are breakable, so we have to just enter them and break the blocks, and then on the other side of the door they'll be broken. It's just gimmicky and silly. Oh, he doesn't usually do that. So characters usually have kind of like a set path almost that they do for the most part. Yoshi usually will jump towards you and you'll kind of be able to up B him. I don't... But I'll say Yoshi's probably your first troll. Yoshi's can be quite difficult to deal with. He has super armor on his jump. He has a high, he gets really high on his jump, so he can troll pretty hard. But usually they have like a set path, and sometimes they'll take it, sometimes they won't. You just have to react accordingly. He air dodged. It usually does not happen. Alright. Like with Diddy, usually you can just jump towards the middle because that's what he does, and then nair him, and then once he lands on a platform, you up B. But he like air dodged landing. He did like a landing air dodge thing. It was weird. That's what it looked like, at least. Oh. Falcon's enough for troll, kinda. Alright. Oop, that's not... I never want to do that move. That move is not useful. Alright, so now I entered that orange door earlier before Falcon so that I can, I don't have to backtrack and I can just quit out. And this also lets me be able to reselect characters, which is going to be useful for this next enemy I have to fight. So it brings me back here, and then I could select my characters. So I want to be Charizard here because there's a boss fight right up here at this door. Charizard's really good with bosses, so. Not the... You're not working with me, Duan. Alright. But yeah, doing that fight with Charizard saves like 20 seconds, so it's pretty worth it. And we don't need to be Charizard anymore, so we just SD, and then do the rest of this with Meta Knight. Whoa. That worked. If you can just pop them up so that they're either landing on a platform or just pop them up enough so that you can kind of set up an up B, then you're basically you got them good. You got the fights down once you can learn how to kind of set that up. Oh, okay, I should have waited a little bit. If I waited a little bit, he probably would have been dead. But Game & Watch is another troll, so he should be dead there. There we go. Alright. So it's actually not faster to do save and quit here. So we're just gonna backtrack to this first door that we entered this room with, and continue onward. Oh. Okay. Nope. I'm dead. I'm not dead. Oh my goodness. This is the sloppiest fight I've ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is really bad. Yikes. Alright then. Alright, so we're just gliding over all this stuff because we don't need the VO down there. And we're just going to do this fight. And that's a perfect setup of that fight. That's how I like to do that fight like that. It's very consistent for me. Oh, that was rude. They never do that. Okay, we're doing damage boost strats. Alright, this is happening. Oh, dang it. Okay. That was weird. The Primal never hits me out of my up B, but that was fine, I guess. So what do? Do I play it safe, or do I go ham? What do you guys want? I didn't get an answer in time. I'm just gonna go ham. I like hype, right? We like to be hype here. There we go, we got a ham. We got a ham in the shadow. So usually, if I was like trying to play it safe, I would heal after the Porky fight, but we're trying to go fast here, so. Oh, he up-paired me. Alright. We got a bunch of hams. Alright, cool. Good thing I did it. Ah! Whatever. So, I have a lot of percent, but it's okay. Whoa, that's unhelpful. Stop. Stop hitting me. I could never get hit there. Fair is another really good move to use there. It's a little bit more safe than up being off stage where you like, if you up B and miss, then you're dead. Alright, so now we're back with this the switch doors, but we actually have to go into these other two doors on the side to press the other switches, so. That's what we're doing here. And Rob is probably the easiest one to kill in the game. He's literally just run up to him and up B. Press that button on the way to the other doors just because it's a little bit more optimal to do so. We're trying to save frames here, boys. Uh-oh. That's not a good RNG. Alright. Not terrible. Alright, so I'm assuming you guys still want me to go ham, so I'm not going to heal yet. I'm going to keep going ham. Oh, that sucks. Don't troll. Alright, cool. If he dash attacks me there, then it's kind of bad, but it's all good, because he didn't. So. Woo. Alright, so now we only have to worry about 2 more fights, and then I'll be able to heal in a timely fashion. Also, I would really appreciate if I can get into the store. I did all the hard stuff, but I couldn't get into that door. What's a marathon without a little bit of ham, right? Ham and cheese. Maybe some provolone. Alright. DD is another pretty easy one to get. He can just troll because he can literally just start off with like a down smash or something and just wreck me while I'm running towards him. This is the last fight that I have to worry about. Cool. And we're good. We didn't die, friends. So this is a pretty free heal right here, so I'd be silly to not go for that. It's faster to wait for that heal just because I don't have to, like, in order to heal otherwise, I either have to, like, hope for something to spawn, basically, or go into one of the save doors and waste time there. And I don't want to waste time. This is a speed run. Almost died. He got destroyed right there. Bumpers are really, really useful items. Now let's see if I can pull this off. Cool. Nope. Jump. Okay. Oh. Alright. Alright. So we're actually going to be after like this fight and the next one. After 2 fights. What am I doing? So there's actually a route change that's been added to Subspace. Oh, cool. That went well. It saves a little bit of time. It's just really cool to show off, just because it's really new. It hasn't really been showcased yet, so that's neat. We're just going to do characters in a different order, and it's a little bit more optimized, or optimal to do it, like, in the set order. So, oh, crap. So after this Gallium fight that we're going to have... Oh, good. I'm gonna keep going ham. Alright. Cool. We go ham and we save time. Alright. Good stuff. All right. I will heal here just because it's a little bit of a tricky section. So we used to just go down and to the right, and like do Zelda and then all that stuff. But now we go into this door over here, which leads us to Charizard, and then it just wraps us back around. So it saves a little bit of time. One with, whoa, what the heck? What did he just do? Oh my god. All right. So it saves time, one with like just like all the platforming and stuff like that we have to do, and also with menuing, so it's really useful. All right. She's grabbed me out of my nair. All right. Okay. Jeez. Savages. Alright, we're good. Alright, so we wrapped back around. Instead of saving, quitting, and going to Charizard, we're going to save and quit. And then we're just going to go up and into Wario, so it saves a nice bit of time. Run! Oh, dang. Alright. So now the route's back to normal. Alright, there we go. So that's the first time I was doing that with splits, because I have my splits on the back. I saved a lot of time right there. That was nice. The fights went pretty well too, so that was also useful. Ah. Okay, wait, stop. Eh. I just want to get into the door. Oh. So, Meta Knight's down smash does like a butt ton of damage to Rayquaza for some reason, so. Wait, what am I doing? That's not the movement. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going back and around and then entering the last section of the maze. I don't want him to go in these directions. Alright. I always try to up B and I get to the platform right up there. This is sloppy as heck. Jeez. Okay. It'll hit eventually. Come here, boy. Oh my god, die. No. Dang, she is... Oh, never mind. I thought she just went to her death. Whoops. Now we're at the last two characters. I just jumped over it. Nice. That strat, like, sometimes gets it and sometimes it doesn't, but it worked that time, so that's good. Because usually that guy, like, he'll usually do his attack, and then you'll usually get hit, but, like, for whatever reason, sometimes you don't. I don't really know. I do the same strat, and then sometimes I get hit and sometimes I don't, so. No. Okay. I need to find a bet. Oh no, I already know a better way to do it, but that was not what I'm not. Down smash isn't the best move. Don't do it. Don't do it as much as I do. All right, go down. Oh, he jumped. He jumped again. Okay. Alright, so the main reason as to why we picked Charizard is because of this taboo fight. Charizard, again, does a lot of damage to bosses. So... With given the correct RNG, he can do quite a bit of damage, which he's not giving me the good RNG right now. There we go. Alright. Oh, sorry, time. I'm sorry. That happened. That was like a really good taboo. My bad. My bad. Alright. Alright. That's Subspace Emissary. My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the last time is when you hit taboo. So that's that. Yes. Thank you guys for watching, guys. This is a game I've put a lot of time into. I've been running this game for a little over, for almost 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in January. So I've been running this game for a long time. We've brought this game down from when I started running this game. The world record was a 228, I think, and now it's a 201. So the game has been optimized, getting more optimized, and just we keep finding new stuff, and it's getting really, really cool. Shout outs to all the people that speedrun Brawl with me. SWC19, really good runner. Yeah, second place, he's really good. Dragolina, another good runner. Textro, good runner. Techo, come back, Techo, we miss you. Filthy Scrub, good guy. Just all the Brawl speedrunners, you guys are all great. Thanks, guys, for letting me show off not one, but 2 different Brawl Subspace runs. That makes me really happy. I've brought Subspace along. It's been a part of my life for a long time, and I'm glad I could share it with all you guys that like fighting games. For anybody that's interested in learning Brawl, or really any Smash game, we have a Smash Brothers speedrunning Discord where we showcase other Smash games. We support each other. We find stuff. Really good Discord. You guys should join it. And for those of you guys who want to learn Subspace or even anything Brawl, we have a lot of resources and a lot of active runners that run all the different kinds of categories that we have in Brawl. So, yeah, hope you guys like these credits. Unless we were gonna move on to the next game, but yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me have this run in. Yeah. I'm not sure which game is next. Let me see what game is next. Verdict Guilty. That's the game that's next. So yeah, you guys should definitely stay tuned for that run. Join the Discord. Support us all. You guys are great. Thanks for having me. Love you. Bye.